What you are listening to is real. The participants are not actors. They are actual litigants with a case pending in the squared circle. Both parties have agreed to dismiss their cases and have their disputes settled here in our forum, the Turnbuckle Debate.
Hey everyone, welcome to another edition of the Turnbuckle Debate. My name is Snead.
I'm Chad.
And I am the OG Fig Kid, Thomas Montalto, the staple of the Turnbuckle Debate.
And what a better way to come out of our 1 year than to come back in the way we started. Just the three of us.
Old school style.
It's old school. It's vintage Turnbuckle Debate. It's
vintage debate, man.
3 wide, triple threat, three-way, whatever you want to call it.
It's the three of us.
This is fun. No Sam Roberts taking my time up.
Yeah, it is the perfect way to start. You know, we have a bunch of awesome guests in the weeks to come.
Yep.
But it's like, let's kick off year 2 the way it started.
Might as well.
And, you know, the only way to do that is to have all of us wearing a Turnbuckle Tavern merch.
Which was not planned.
Just totally marks.
No, this was not planned at all.
No. Speaking of that, though, make sure you guys go to theturnbuckletavern.com. You can find all of our stuff on there. We have a lot of awesome t-shirts that you can find. We have debate t-shirts.
Yeah, Turnbuckle Debate shirts. You got
3 options, man. Like, they're awesome shirts. And the Master Debater shirt, why would you not want to wear that?
Yeah, you got to get a Master Debater shirt.
Yeah.
Of course you do. I'm an awesome Master Debater.
Yeah,
we're all
master all the time.
You sure are, Tom. Just every week,
every single week,
master debating.
Love it.
You know what else am I gonna do? I'm married.
All right. I think this is going a different way.
Yeah, let's jump in.
Let's get into the debate. We all know the format. We don't have to explain it this time. Let's go. You guys ready?
Let's do it.
Let's go.
All right, our first topic of the evening. Who is the first member to join House of Black? Who's it going to be? Who's going to join House of Black?
Malachi Black's House of Black. I think he came out in an interview recently and said his plan is to have people join.
Yep.
And he said that he hasn't had like a direct conversation about it with Tony Khan, but his plan is to have people join eventually.
I think he said it's ultimately not up to him, but that's what he wants to do.
Right.
Yeah. So when it does happen, who's coming in?
What if it's Cody?
I mean, man, that would be crazy if Cody joined House of Black. Like, I honestly think it can happen. I honestly think it's a possibility.
It is a possibility. I mean,
I don't think he's the first.
I don't see him joining. I think they're going to go a different route, but storyline wise, if you're playing the long game, what would be cooler than seeing him don the black hair, maybe even have an eye, a different, I mean, if you went really far with it and just went
somehow
over
the mist affects his face.
Talk about going, leaning into that Stardust realm of his wrestling chops.
What about this one? We see all these people vying for Dante Martin. He did get the mist in the face. What if it's him?
That would be a wrinkle.
Oh, that'd be different. Yeah, I never even thought about him as to be it.
I think he's tied up with Leo Rush and
yeah, but you have Team Taz going after him. The Acclaim tried to give him a contract at the pay-per-view.
But is it somebody that's already there though?
I
don't think so. I think my pick for the first person to join House of Black is going to be Ring of Honor's Brody King.
I mean, that only makes sense.
That'd be a good one.
Yeah, Brody King. Malachi and Brody King, I believe, are the tag team champions in PWG right now.
Yeah,
they have a name. I forget their wrestling name, their tag team name, but he fits that. He's got the look. He's tattooed up just like Malachi.
Well, there was even a little tease for it too, I believe. Malachi did a tease for it.
What'd he do?
So there was an article that came out Brody King had tweeted the first of the foundation. Brody King tweeted out a picture. It says, "Everyone has a destiny. I'll choose my own." And Malachi Black posted it and retweeted it and said, "The first of the foundation."
Oh, wow.
So,
Wow.
Well, their tag team name in PWG and on the indies is the Kings of the Black Throne.
that's awesome too,
Ooh.
man. That's an awesome name.
Yeah, it's a very
Yeah.
awesome name, and it's got that black in there, so it's like Brody King, Malachi Black, Kings of the Black Throne. Could be very interesting, and I know Brody King is on their radar. Tony Khan has mentioned him. I believe CM Punk has mentioned him.
Yes. Yeah.
As far as like people that they'd like to see show up in AEW. So I think he's on their radar, and I would not be surprised. And he's a big guy.
Yeah. He kind of has that
Big
Bruiser Brody look, Brody Lee look. He,
Yeah.
just come in and be that monster again.
Yeah.
So
That would be fun. I'm going to throw another. I don't know. I don't think they would be the first members of the stable, but if I'm booking this, say Brody King is the first member, and you got those two singles guys. I don't know if I'd want to see him be the Kings of the Black Throne in AEW. I would like to see Malachi at the head of the table and maybe Brody King be more of his heater. But if they needed a tag team within the House of Black, turn them back, get them away from Hardy Family Office, put Butcher and Blade.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
Butcher and Blade would fit perfectly in the House of Black.
Yeah.
Especially
I
Butcher.
could see that.
All tattooed up. I mean, they got the vibe. They come out in all black already. We forget when they debuted and they cut their way through the ring while Cody was in the ring. They slit the ring open and crawled into the ring. What an awesome debut they had.
But wouldn't that even be a good part of the storyline too with Cody? If Cody was still a part of it, the fact that they came in while he was in the ring,
that it was all part of the plan.
you could do a callback to years ago, a year and a half ago, whatever. Yeah.
Have him do it again.
Yeah.
In a segment with House of Black in the middle of the ring, and maybe somebody's confronting them, and then through the ring again comes Butcher and the Blade.
What a good call. What a great callback that would be, man.
It'd be incredible
to have that, man. That would be a lot of fun. Yeah, I mean,
go
ahead.
What's his name from WWE that he was feuding with? Buddy, what's he going by? Buddy Matthews now?
Yeah, Buddy. What was his
Murphy.
name? Buddy Murphy.
Buddy Murphy. Thank you, Snead. Yeah, I think he's going by Buddy Matthews. Like, I think sooner or later he'll show up in AEW and probably feuding with him.
Maybe a feud. I don't see him joining though. I don't think
he fits the. It's kind of like the Andrade thing right now. I know it's cool seeing them work together, but they're so like, it's almost weird to me to see someone like Andrade teamed with Malachi, because when I see Malachi, he has that Undertaker vibe.
Yeah, he's so subtle. He's so cool.
Yeah, he's like dark, and he's got the occult vibe to him.
The way he delivers his messages and his promos like nobody else does right now. It's so freaking amazing. He's so good.
Yeah,
he's so good.
I mean, there's I don't think this would happen, but where would Wyndham Rotunda fit into all of this?
I mean, if they're going to bring him in, I think with the supernatural vibe, he would definitely fit in. But I just don't think them together. I think they're too big to be together.
Yeah, and my worry with what happens, we have, say the House of Black slowly starts becoming a faction. And then you have Wyndham Rotunda come in with the cult of Wyndham. You can't have, that's two factions that are in that dark. It's too similar.
Yeah, definitely too similar.
You could have the once it started, I'm not saying this would be the first, but once it starts growing, why don't we throw Abaddon in there?
Yeah. I mean,
we throw Abaddon in there as a women's contender for the House of Black.
That works.
I don't know what Cult of Wyndham is going to look like if that ever does surface in AEW, but if it's any indication that Bray's involved to his aesthetic that he's brought to WWE, I feel like Abaddon would fit better with a Bray.
Oh, absolutely.
With a Wyndham Rotunda.
Absolutely. If he's there, she fits better with him. I agree 100%.
Because he's more of the Wyndham Rotunda feels more of the horror movie vibe.
Right.
Where Malachi Black seems like the
cultish
cult, like he's the one doing seances and summoning the devil. I mean,
he's got the horns, he's got
the
fog and the lights. Like, yeah, he's definitely more of a cult leader.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I know this is a little off, but does Bray show up in AEW?
I'm not convinced yet.
I'm not either.
I'm not convinced either, but I think that's the way they want it to be.
I think that's the way a lot of people want it to be.
Yeah.
Well, I think the people want him to be there, but I think AEW wants us to give up on him being there before they have him debut.
I think it's in their best interest to not bring him in anytime soon.
No, not at all.
Not till at least
they need to let people get into storylines and not you don't want to condition the audience to only expect surprises.
Yeah.
That I feel like a lot of AEW casuals, they're there for the big surprise and then they kind of go away. And then they come back for the big surprise and pop, but they're not there week to week watching the shows. I mean, the ratings dictate that. Like when they get a big surprise comes, the ratings pop. The ratings will dip a little bit.
Yeah.
And then somebody will come out again and it'll pop. It's like, where are you at when it's just the week to week storytelling?
Yeah.
They need to lay off on any big name surprises like that for now. Like we saw how CM Punk, Daniel Bryan, and Adam Cole. Did I say Daniel Bryan? Damn it, Bryan Danielson kind of seemed like it hampered the booking for the last couple of months, and they kind of changed things up. So
yeah, I don't know, man. They can do a lot with bringing people in, but bringing in Wyndham Rotunda is a different beast.
Yes.
You bring in Jay Lethal at Full Gear, it's exciting, because Jay making a big to do with all these vignettes of Jay Lethal. That's not what I love Jay Lethal, but that's not, he doesn't have the overall industry star power that would deserve a month buildup of a big person.
Right.
The only people on the scene right now, to me, that really you need to calculate their arrival and really book it into a major arrival would be Wyndham Rotunda. Maybe Keith Lee, just as far as like popularity with fans, maybe. But I don't think you'd even need to do it with Keith Lee, honestly.
No, I don't think so either. I think it's perfect. Like Jay Lethal, even Keith Lee would be the perfect guy to announce at another pay-per-view. What do you think?
Killer Cross would show up. He would make a good
surprise.
Surprise.
Yeah.
Quick, what do you think of them having a new debut at every pay-per-view?
It depends on
for the last 4 pay-per-views now.
If you can do it and do it smart, why not?
But are they becoming too dependent on that to get by? Well, I mean, this time it wasn't announced, obviously, but do you think it's something fans are going to become too dependent on to get the pay-per-view just to see who's going to be the new guy this month, this pay-per-view?
I don't necessarily think so, because you think about it's how you do it. It's not like All Out. Not everything's going to be Adam Cole and Bryan Danielson.
Yeah.
No.
Because
you're never getting a double debut like that again.
Like a Double or Nothing, they had the Joker entrant, which was Leo Rush. That wasn't.
And was Mark Henry also there?
But he's not a wrestler, so that was just he's a part of the company.
And then they did a Christian one, but that they can't announce somebody's debuting at a pay-per-view again.
Right.
Like if Christian just showed up, that would have been so much
I
more
don't mind
successful than
that. I
announcing
really
it.
don't mind that. I think
Yeah.
they're doing.
I think it's
a
fun.
There's a big difference between we have Christian here tonight or Jay Lethal just signed and they come out. There's a big difference in between that and Adam Cole and Bryan Danielson coming out. Those were more like shocking surprises.
Yeah. But were you like me waiting at the pay-per-view, seeing if somebody was going to debut? Like I was watching the whole pay-per-view. When I got to them, like, ooh, somebody's got to be debuting before this match. They're going to announce it. And then they did.
Honestly, I didn't expect any surprises at Full
I didn't
Gear.
either.
See, I was thinking they've done it for 3. We're going to get somebody.
We'll get into Full Gear too. Let's
let's
are you guys ready to wrap this one up and move on to the next topic?
Yeah, let's go.
do it.
All right, let's do it. All right, so our next topic of the evening, is it lazy booking for wrestling companies to lean on the past for storylines?
It just
you brought this to the table.
Yeah,
Explain this. Like, give us some examples.
That's so like, wrestling, they're always going back and using storylines from the past. Let's now you put me on the spot. I got to think of one, but they do it all the time. It's just even things AEW does, throwing back to WWE stuff. I think we talked about it on Sessions this week, but that's just little things. WWE is the king of trying to go back and make something out of it. I don't think it's entirely lazy if it works.
I think it just depends on what it is.
Yeah, I think
same here. I think it depends on what it is because, I mean, if you're going back and rehashing something, it can be good if you rework it a different way.
Right.
Like if
it's going to lead to a new story.
Yeah, if you're going to have something new with it. I mean, it's like we were talking earlier with Butcher and Blade. Like if they come back and do another attack on Cody, like that's a good callback. Nobody remembers that. Or I mean, people remember it, but it's a good callback.
That's a perfect example. But let's talk about, Roddy Piper and Jimmy Snuka. How many times did WWF Piper bring out a coconut and break it over somebody's head? And then you go to TNA and having Piper try to apologize to Snuka. How many times was that? Then the Survivor Series, was it in 2000 at Madison Square Garden when they had Piper and Snuka in the Royal Rumble, that little moment? Now that was just a moment, but like they kept calling back to that one moment throughout history. Even Piper when he was managing, was it Sean O'Hare in WWE?
Yeah.
And he hit the coconut over Rikishi's head, I think.
But see, that to me, that's just callbacks.
Yeah, those are small.
That comedian, a comedy will do that where you'll set a joke up early in the movie and then later there'll be a callback and you're like, oh, wrestling. I feel like that is one of the great things fans love. I saw where Braun Breaker in NXT 2.0 this week, they had a reference to the Steiner Math promo.
Oh, nice.
And not everyone's going to get that, but it's those little callbacks where the hardcore fans are going to pop for those type of things. It's like, but as far as like lazy booking, leaning into the past, I tend to think what's old is new again. I think leaning back into the past for storylines, and it's never going to be the same. You might be taking the archetype of the story, but it's going to be filtered through something new with new characters doing their spin on it. And I think wrestling's done that since the dawn of wrestling. They're always taking from the past, just as little as the Dynamite that was here in Charleston back in October of 2019. They had a spot in it where Dustin Rhodes got his arm broken in a car door.
Yeah.
That was a direct callback to the Horseman breaking Dusty, it's those little things where like the new fan doesn't know that. That's more for the lifers. That's more for those fans that have been watching for years. And I appreciate that stuff because it shows you that they know their own history and it makes it more interesting. It's Easter eggs for wrestling fans.
Yeah.
You watch a movie like a Pulp Fiction movie and you see a pack of Red Apple cigarettes and you're like, oh shit, those Red Apple cigarettes pop up in all of Tarantino's movies. It's the equivalent of that, like giving wrestling fans those little Easter eggs to pop you.
Yeah. And it's things that they know that work. Like they're not going to pull something from the past that's something that didn't work. you know, that's when you start reworking stuff and having new things.
True.
The stuff that works though, why not rehash it and bring it out, and for the new fans to enjoy it because we know that it works, and for the old fans to get a good pop.
Well, see, sometimes you can bring back something and it doesn't work. For me,
Yeah, oh, you definitely can.
like when they brought back DX with Shawn Michaels and
Excellent
Triple
point.
H, I was just like, this is like, we're getting the PG version of one of the most trend-setting, edgy acts in all of wrestling.
Oh,
And
dude, worse than that
felt
was
silly
Worse than that was NWO.
when they brought
Yes.
that back in WWE.
That was terrible, man.
And
So-
they said Kevin Nash said the only reason that was scrapped was because they started outselling everybody in the company, and Vince didn't want that. He said that when he was on Broken Skull Sessions.
So I guess there is a little bit of that. Like, you can beat a
Yeah.
dead horse, like,
You can.
but you should be able to try. Like, what was one of the big major things in the first year and a half of AEW that everyone kept like, it's going to happen? Everyone was saying there was going to be a new version of the Four Horsemen. It
Yeah.
was going to be MJF and Tully and Arn, and then FTR joined, and they're like, FTR is going to be in there, and everyone wanted that. And there were people like, we want them to go by Four Horsemen, and then they've done some pseudo version of it with the Pinnacle, which is definitely leaning into that Four Horsemen. But I think I'm in for stuff like that. I don't think it's lazy booking at all. Lazy booking to me is more when you're not dotting your I's and crossing your T's, and you're throwing shit together that doesn't make sense, and you're treating your viewers like dummies. That's lazy, because you're not willing to connect the dots of the story. You just throw something out there, and someone's like, well, wait a minute, that guy didn't like that guy, so why are they doing this? And the booker's like, fuck it, the fans they treat us like dummies.
Like,
where when bookers do stuff to reference the past, I feel like they're treating fans like smart fans.
Yes, that's one thing I find very infuriating, especially with WWE, is how they ignore the past and they expect you to forget it and act like it never happened.
Right.
Like that's
that's even the thing with Braun Breaker. We're not going to talk about him being a Steiner,
and it doesn't make sense
that's
because
ridiculous.
they're referencing Steiner shit. It's like, if
that's only going to get him over more. Why wouldn't you do that? It just I don't even get that a little bit.
No, I don't.
You know how many casual wrestling fans out there right now, if you walked up to them and was like, hey, that's Rick Steiner's son, they're gonna be like, what, really?
Yeah,
exactly. I know people who loved wrestling for the Steiners and weren't even big wrestling fans. So by bringing him in with the name Steiner, we get more people to look at him.
Oh yeah,
so dumb. It's so dumb.
Yeah, but WWE, I mean, this is the first time they've ever done something really stupid, so we'll let them slide on that. We'll let them slide on that.
Yeah.
Okay, Snead.
Yeah. Idiots. I do not like WWE, man.
I couldn't tell the last.
It's not my brand. It's not. I like.
Yeah.
Listen, I was actually I was talking with Mike on the phone today, the great Mike Bellcaster of the Turnbuckle Tavern, and I was saying, like, it's hard for me to even pay attention while watching WWE anymore. Like, half the times when it's over, I don't even know what I watch because I'm doing other stuff just to get through it being on my TV.
I think what Sam Roberts said on the last debate really hit true with me, where it was like, I don't think WWE is at a point now where they feel WWE doesn't need AEW like they needed WCW to evolve. WWE is doing their own thing. No matter how good AEW gets, I don't really think it's going to change the way WWE does business. I think the way they do it is the way they do it. And we have every type of wrestling we want.
Yeah.
And I know the type of wrestling I like right now. And right now, WWE just isn't for me. I don't even like, I'm beyond like saying, picking it apart and trying to critique everything they do. I'm like, that's just what they do now, man.
Yeah.
They're not going to operate like that is a different brand of wrestling. If you like that and that's your thing and you think it's good, go have fun with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm-
Here's the proof.
I just don't
That
have fun with it.
they don't care and they don't feel threatened that they need to do anything because number one, nothing has changed with their program. It's still exactly the same stuff. And number two, just last week, a whole nother round of releasing guys that they know could go and be popular anywhere else, like Heath Lee and Killer Cross. Like they just don't care. Like, hey, listen, we're making our billions. We're gonna have our people watching us. We're still gonna sell out WrestleMania. Yeah, we're good. You just do what you're gonna do.
It doesn't matter to them. What's it
Nope,
matter to
doesn't
them?
matter at all.
And I
They
don't think
proved
it's a
that.
matter of them thinking, well, we need to be more edgy or we need to be what AEW is doing. I think they're doing what they do because that's what they do.
Yes,
Right.
I agree.
It's what they do. It's the way they book, the way they just kind of. To me, WWE isn't a pro wrestling company anymore. I know everyone says, "Oh, they're sports entertainment." They're not. They're content creators.
Yeah,
they're not
they would
really
agree with you.
creating
They wouldn't even
stuff.
argue that.
Yeah, they're just pumping out shit every week, giving you something.
Yeah.
It's very much for kids. It's very kid driven. And AEW's TV 14, it's more tailored towards
It's cowboy shit.
people of our age. And I connect to that.
Yes, I agree. No, I agree 100%. The WWE's turned into more one of those like those Sonny and Cher type shows with just the different skits. And if they can figure a way to get the wrestling out of it,
man.
yeah, variety
It's
show. They've turned
entertainment
into a
variety
variety show. And if they can figure out the way to take the wrestling off of it, they would. Like
It's
how little
honestly-
wrestling is on there.
Yep. It's honestly like taking your kid to a cartoon, a movie, like a Pixar movie or, a DreamWorks animation movie. And most of it will be for the kids, but every now and then they'll slide in a little joke that goes over the kid's head that is there for the adults, the parents that have brought the kid. And that's what WWE, every now and then WWE will slide something
It's like the
that-
Muppet Show. The Muppet Show used to do that.
that grabs the adult, like, oh, but Roman Reigns, man, he's killing it right now. But then you surround Roman Reigns with a bunch of dog shit. So it's like, I can't just watch for that guy. Like even the way they book those storylines, it's just not my thing, man. Like if you like it and that's the type of wrestling you want to watch, more power to you. But that's just not
It's
my
become
my bag.
harder and harder for me to watch, and I just don't know if it's because of now I have AEW, and it's like, no, this
True.
is what I like.
Yeah. We've gotten something better now. Just
Yeah,
how it is.
100%.
There's a true alternative. That's
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
and I life is short. You don't have much time.
Yeah.
And I would rather look forward to Wednesday and Friday nights for Rampage on Fridays than 3 hours of Monday, which once makes me want to, put a gun in my mouth.
Yeah. I mean, hey, like what you like,
Yeah.
watch what you want to watch. There's a lot of content out there. AEW is just better. So
Yep. And here's my hot take
The
just to
Crow?
end it for
Yeah.
me.
go ahead, Tom.
My hot take is at this point, you can't even compare rosters. AEW's roster has far surpassed the talent on the WWE's roster.
Yep. I think Adam Crow agrees.
I think that's a good hot take. I would take up for WWE a little bit there. I think they have a really, really good roster, but I think the way they are used makes them seem way less than what they are.
But if you look at all the people they've let go, there's a lot of talent that's gone.
100%. 100%.
All right. You guys ready to move on to our final topic of the evening?
Let's
let's
do
do
it.
it.
All right. So our final topic of the evening. Wow. You know what? When that crow comes in, boy, he just screws everything
Dude,
up.
he gets over
It's
on that.
just-
He gets
it's-
over on that soundboard. And
Yeah,
starts
we'll get him-
tap dancing. Get him out of here. Get him out of here.
Come back later. We'll be okay. All right. We'll be recording later too. Okay. Oh, there he is.
There he is.
Little Adam.
Adam Crow.
All right. Our final topic of the evening was Full Gear, AEW's best pay-per-view ever.
I mean, damn, every time I feel like I watch another AEW pay-per-view, I'm like, that's the best one ever. But no, I think All Out was still the best. But damn, the wrestling on this pay-per-view was was top notch.
Oh,
From
yeah.
starting with the first match right through the last match. Like they haven't put on a show that's disappointed in the last year. Like, I mean, honestly, other pay-per-views have been super solid wrestling wise. They've never put on a disappointing show. But the 4 they put on this year, specifically even the last 3, blow you out of the water. Well worth your $50. Like,
But what about the exploding barbed wire death match where they didn't give us the big boom?
but the match was friggin' awesome.
Exactly.
The whole match. I forget about the ending. I don't
ruined
care.
everything.
No,
The boom ruined everything. Shut the fuck up.
Throw that whole pay-per-view away. Throw that whole thing away.
Did Tony Khan and those guys have anything to do with a pyrotechnic not going off?
No. 100%
It was the pyro guy, man.
Yeah.
How can you
So you're going to throw the whole pay-per-view away because you didn't get your big boom at the end of the night? I mean, were we disappointed? Yeah. I was like, what the fuck? That's a cop out. But did it make me like throw the whole event away? No, that match itself was really awesome.
The match itself was
was an awesome
awesome, and you
match.
know what made me love it though? That they addressed it.
Oh,
Yes.
That
They
Something you
did-
never would have seen in WWE.
they talked about it. It was a thing. They knew it was bullshitty, and they went and talked about it.
That's the big difference.
Exactly.
called it-
I
You
love
won me.
that stuff though.
We all know that ending sucked the biggest balls.
Yeah.
Everybody knows that.
There's not one person that would disagree with that. We all know.
But to be like, man, AEW didn't deliver that night.
Wrong.
They just didn't
You're wrong.
deliver.
You're wrong.
It was another great card. I wish I remembered the whole card off. Like, I'm so inundated by all the AEW great wrestling we've had. I don't even remember what else was on the card, but I remember being super happy with it. I remember thinking, man, if you guys are going to let this ending ruin it for you, you've got something wrong with you. I felt bad for everybody involved with it.
You know what
after.
it feels like for me when I watch an AEW pay-per-view? It reminds me
Special.
of, well, I mean, it's special. It reminds me back in the day when, UFC was at its hottest and there's all these fights that you're looking forward to. Like, I just remember the feeling of like UFC 100.
Oh yeah, big fight feel.
That huge fight feel.
Yeah.
That's what every pay-per-view feels for me. These
you're
matches that you're going into, I'm invested in all of them.
Yeah.
And that's what these pay-per-views feel like. And that's why I think they hit so hard. I think that's why they feel like they're so good. Not that I feel like they wouldn't be, but they are, because they are good. But this makes it feel, they just have that big fight feel. And I love that.
I agree 100%.
Back to the original question for me. If we're talking bell to bell match quality, this Full Gear was, I think, probably the best pay-per-view they've ever done.
As far as match quality, yeah.
Wow, really? Even I'd have to go down and break down match by match because
There-
All Out had amazing match quality.
I mean, I'm talking
Yeah.
just pay-per-view. The buy-ins, you can throw the buy-ins away. Just strip them away and just go main card. What is the weak spot? I mean, I guess some people
There
could
was
say
no weak
the
spot.
Brit Ty Conti if you wanted
That
to.
wasn't a weak spot. I love that match.
like
Ty
that
Conti was
Some people
amazing.
would say inner circle ATT.
That match was everything it was
That
meant to
fun,
be.
though, too.
It was
Yeah.
what it was. It was exactly what it was supposed to be.
Exactly.
You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
exactly.
Like, but when you talk about the heavy hitter matches of Full Gear, when you go Darby MJF, when you go Omega Hangman,
Lucha FTR.
Lucha FTR,
Well, Lucha Bucks was pretty good, but then you go Omega Christian and Omega Hangman definitely. won.
Danielson Miro, CM Punk, Eddie
Eddie
Kingston.
Kingston.
I mean, every match was just like heaters.
That's true.
But best pay-per-view AEW's ever put on, and in my opinion, top 5 pay-per-views of all time, possibly top 3, All Out 2021.
Yeah.
It's unmatched to me. Like that, you had everything. You had match quality.
Exactly. I was
You
just gonna
had
say that.
Storytelling.
You had a perfect.
You had the amazing card and then topping it off with the end.
You had an awesome debut right in the middle with Ruby.
Yeah.
You had an awesome debut surprise for the hardcore wrestling fans when Minoru Suzuki came out at the end of the Mox match.
Yeah.
That's true.
That was a huge surprise. And then to end it with a double surprise of two of the biggest free agents in pro wrestling coming out. That place just, the roof blew off. Not to mention all of the amazing matches throughout the night.
Yeah.
The amazing storytelling. And then you put that just top 5. I mean, it's got to be in the top something of tag team wrestling. Top 10 greatest tag team matches.
I think it's higher than top 10.
I mean, it's up
Gosh.
there. I don't want to have recency bias, but that match was.
No, that match was definitely up there. That's top 5 or 3 even.
Yeah, I don't think it. Best pay-per-view that they've done. I don't think so. I agree. I think
No.
All Out was, but
It's a great wrestling from top to bottom. But with the surprises we got it all out, that special feeling.
That put it over the edge.
Yes, that is what put it over the edge. Anytime you have somebody come out at the end like that, and then you get 2 of them,
And you can't do those.
That'll never happen again.
You can't do those.
That'll never happen again.
Back to back, because you don't. If you pop the crowd with 2 major debuts like that, there's only one time to do that. You know, as far as like in a calendar year, you can't do that a full year because you don't have enough time to build. We're kind of like coming off the hangover of Danielson and Cole coming. So we don't have enough time to like.
But even if like
want something new.
When is there ever 2 free agents available to make it? Like that'll never happen again. That's a once in a lifetime thing. When have we ever had 2 debuts at once before like that?
We had Matt Hardy and Brody Lee. That was on a random dive.
Yeah, I mean, but they
with
still
no
are
one
even,
in the crowd.
I would say they're still not even on the level of Brian
No.
and Cole was.
No,
I love both of those guys, but
Me too.
Not the
Absolutely
same.
love Brody.
Definitely not the same as,
and especially for them to come out in the same program.
You had the longest champion of NXT
Yeah.
against one of your best champions in the last 10 years on the main roster, both debuting in one night.
it was just expertly booked it all out, because you had
It was.
everyone thought it was going to be Danielson, and then Cole comes out and you're like, oh shit, he's going to square off with Omega. And then they hug and you're like, what the fuck? And then boom, Danielson's music. So all in the same, like Snead said, all in the same storyline, all in the same angle. The crowd, like we've talked about it before, but there were grown ass men jumping up and down like 5-year-olds.
Hey, look,
they
man.
were so excited.
Hey,
and
look,
I
man.
was one of them.
Being there.
I was just going to ask that.
2 things about it being there. 2 things. First, everybody was calling for Bryan Danielson, me and Chad, Adam Cole.
Yeah, we were like, it's
Called
gonna
it.
be Cole. It's gonna be Cole.
Called it. Everybody around us.
Cold it.
We called it.
We called it.
We called it Adam Cole. Everybody around us. Here comes Daniel Bryan. Yeah. And another thing, I almost threw my old ass shoulder out throwing air punches.
Yeah. We were just throwing. The guys right beside us was just like, it's gonna be Daniel Bryan. It's gonna be Daniel Bryan. And then me and Snead sitting right beside him going, Cole. And then Cole hit. I didn't expect Danielson after Cole. I thought they were gonna save that for Arthur Ashe. But man, so good. Yeah.
Crazy. And now, but now you look back at the 3 consecutive pay-per-views that AEW's put out there. Has there ever been 3 consecutive pay-per-views by a company that good in a row? Nope.
No.
Nope.
No.
So,
all right, guys.
Also, it waters it down when you have one a month.
Absolutely.
Oh, absolutely. For sure.
The 4 years, perfect.
Yeah.
Yep. I agree.
Hey, guys, any
With the
final
4
thoughts before
specials
we wrap
now,
it
like
up?
the Saturday night's main event,
Right.
that thing, I'm excited. I'm excited for the future.
Me too, man.
Any final thoughts before we wrap it up?
No, this was fun going back old school.
It was fun.
Yeah. Sometimes you gotta go old school.
All guests are canceled. We're going old school forever.
It's
We'll be
fun
back
having people to argue with.
We'll be back to the guest format again next week, but that's as of right now. That's going to wrap us up for this edition of the Turnbuckle Debate. Make sure you guys are going to theturnbuckletavern.com to check out all of our sites, merch, get you a t-shirt. Turnbuckle Debate, become a master debater.
Be like me.
Or not.
Why would you not want to be?
That's right.
All right, Tom, get your stuff in. We got a couple seconds. Go.
OG Fit Kid, Twitter and Instagram, the Turnbuckle Sessions every Wednesday.
All right, court is dismissed.